it's winner takes all. It's constant.
May the best driver win.
The fireworks for me.
They can be.
And the fireworks will be out tonight. It is the race of champions for DTR. 14 rounds have come down to this. The champions from each division elect are here racing in the USA to battle out to find out who is the best of the best. It's going to be a fantastic evening of racing here at the circuit of the Americas. And well, can't wait to jump into it. See the DTR car, they're ready to go. As we come into qualifying, for the first time you can see all the drivers on our left hand side. We've got 3 qualifying sessions coming up for you, the full qualifying format ahead of a 50% race around this, well, relatively new circuit built in 2012, designed by, of course, Herman Tilke. So far everyone a little bit apprehensive to get out onto the circuit, but nevertheless I think we are set for a very interesting qualifying session, and definitely one that will intrigue. It looks like we've got N's first driver out onto the circuit. We'll just set up the normal bits and bobs for the stream, have the telemetry up, that we can have a look, have a dive into the laps. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, you've got that interest there, the tyre choices throughout qualifying to take into account. And that's before we talk about the cars themselves. Of course, everybody running equal cars in this, sorry, not running equal cars, realistic cars in this session. Javi, the second car, out onto the circuit. On this side, we'll get the tyres up as well, so we can have a bit of analysis. Jordan may be looking for a set of inters. I think that's probably a bold choice, to be fair. But yes, race of champions, 14 rounds have effectively come down to this. Of course, the season is over. The top 3 drivers from each tier, and then a few sort of bonus guys, if you like, put into the mix as well. But again, we've got all the qualifying to talk about that. We've got some great qualifying laps to watch as well. And yes, good luck to all the drivers in this. It should be a great race. Of course, the guys from Division 1, sort of in the Haas, in the Williams, and the guys from Division 6 in the Mercedes and the Red Bull. So it should be a level playing field. That's the thought process. Effectively, the best drivers from RLH across all abilities, fighting it out, hopefully, on a level playing field around what is going to be a very interesting circuit. I must add, you know, you've got great overtaking opportunities. I think the strategy is quite interesting. It's on the cusp of a lot of sort of the 2-stop or the 1-stop, so it could be interesting. A strategy could play a big part here, which I think will be pretty interesting come the race a little bit later on. Just having a look now at Enns getting out of the way for his teammate, and then coming through is, if I can find him, it might be Javi, starting his flying lap, and we'll go on board with the Aston Martin driver, and see how he gets on up to turn number 1. Dropping down now, very important part of the lap, opening yourself up. And Struvis maybe already be out of qualifying. I'm not sure. It looks like he may have retired coming out of the final corner. That could be key, but unfortunately Javi invalidating. Just got a little bit flustered there by trying to check the stream. Got a little bit of a different format for myself this evening, but Javi, unfortunately no valid time for him on this occasion, so we'll go back to Enns potentially being that first driver to set a flying lap. This is 26.3 for the first sector for him. And well, Enns was a Division 4 driver this year, came second in the championship, 5 wins to his name, 6 podiums, 3 poles and 3 fast laps, relatively consistent throughout the season, just beaten by Brandon in McLaren on throughout the season. And Brandon himself is in the other AlphaTauri, currently on an outlap. Enns though down into turn 12, and now going through, of course we're in purple at the moment, avoiding that sausage curb on the inside of turn 13. Now this very difficult kind of stadium style section, based actually off the Hockenheim stadium section design. They wanted that kind of vibe to it, as you then open up into this Turkey sort of styled turns 16, 17 and 18. Doesn't look like Enns is pushing it fully at the moment, just sort of setting a banker, getting a feel for the circuit here this evening as he makes his way around the final corner of this lap. Puts the power down, and it's going to be a 1 minute 36.6. not particularly representative, I think it is fair to say. Relia out on track, and that's the first time from Infamous in the other Mercedes, and the sister Mercedes puts himself onto provisional pole as things stand. And the Ferrari of DYMX puts himself into P2 in his Ferrari. So we'll see if we can find him out on track. I want to try and see, and Tigu's out. Where's Tigu crashed? Tigu has actually crashed on circuit. See if we can find a car that's just about to go past him. There we go. Can we see the Alfa Romeo? It is in the middle of the track. And well, first victim, it is fair to say. Can we try and find Shabby in the pit lane? Let's try and see if we can see one of our C1 protagonists up at the front trying to battle their way in the Williams or in the Haas. We're going to follow Gunnar, voted the fairest driver in over the season, and well, definitely earned his place in the race of champions, I think it's fair to say. Just going through that stadium section now, gets on the power in the Ferrari. Here's Gunnar, and now through the long sweeping corners, yellow flags are out ahead of him. He came second in Division 5, so fair and quick it seems. Currently still Infamous holding on to that provisional pole time at 33.9. Around the final corner we go. Gets on the power. Unders is a little bit wide, but DRS wide open. He puts himself into P4 with that time. A good final sector there. Brandon though, 25 second first sector. And then as he gets onto this DRS straight from turn 11 down to turn 12, reaching speeds of almost up to 330 kph, especially in the race we could be seeing things like that. Gets the car tucked in very nicely into turn 12. And what's this first sector looking at? Middle sector, 1 minute 3.7 combination time. That's pretty good off the top of my head. And Chalkers, the first, I think, of the C1 drivers to get out on track. Actually, Jarry's out on track and setting a timing. He's just up the road, or just behind from where we are as things stand. Nice and flat there from Brandon, as Infamous has improved his time to a 33.2. While we've been watching this lap, into pit lane comes DMIX in the Ferrari. Round the final corner we go, and getting on the power nicely. It's going to be a 1 minute 34 flat, goes into P3 with that time. How is Jarry getting on? Just a little bit further behind. He's up on what Brandon was doing. Of course, in the Williams, ragging this thing around the circuit of the Americas this evening. Through the final corner, yellow flag sector, seems to be cars bunching up all over the main straight. Onto the straight we go, P2 for Jarry, and that's, well, we know how quick Jarry is, and he's acted as a fantastic lap in the Williams. Now I want to try and follow Shabby or Chalkers. Shabby just about to start his final lap and got a perfect opportunity to watch a lap with our C1 champion, our Division 1 champion. Up to turn 1 we go. Nicely tucks in there, getting it opened up. Turn 1's get a nice exit down the hill, and that's crucial to get the long run all the way through this sweeping section based off Maggotts and Beckett's at Silverstone, using all the track and a little bit more, not getting the direction change he normally would do. Of course, in the season, what he's probably used to, he's having to deal with the Haas a little bit more difficult. Avoids getting too much curved on the inside, and can he keep well within track limits? He can, but the rear just wanted to snap out on them. Couldn't deal with the direction changes, the Haas, compared to his Alfa Romeo that he's used to have been driving, of course, on equal settings. Round turn 11 we go. Gets a nice exit, bit of a short shift up into third. And we can just sort of pick apart, you know, you can see the basics here at work of what makes Shabby a great driver, but of course, he's limited by that Haas. And you can see, well, using all the track here. I mean, this is maximising everything in the game, and Jordan sets a time which puts him into P2 at the moment, just behind Infamous, slossing ahead of Jarry. 1 minute 3.7, so it's actually quite a bit down on what Jarry did. Shabby at the moment, struggling a little bit in this Haas. From visually it looks like a good lap, but it's just a little bit slow, unfortunately. But Shabby's really going to have to find some time in this final sector to really push himself further up the leaderboard. Can he keep it in the 1 minute 33s as the car gets nicely out of the way on the inside? Should put us off too much and just rares a little bit wide and ducks out into the pit lane at the last opportunity. How's Chalkers getting on? He's invalidated his time as well, and he's going to carry on from another lap, so we could watch P2 from D1 have a crack at the circuit of the Americas. Racing up now towards turn 1, 36 forward, but the time he did back off a little bit in that final sector. Who else is out on a lap? We could have Gunnar coming across the line any second now, and we have done up to P5 into the 1 minute 33s. And of course, you don't have to worry about tyre wear in this session because these tyres are discarded after this. Of course, it's only Q2, we really have to worry about that sort of impacting on the race. We don't want to use too many sets because it could sort of impact your race strategy, especially with your safety cars or things like that. But Chalk was pushing this Haas to the max through this first sector, really demanding a lot of it and just sort of not getting a lot back in response. And the big snap, somehow he keeps it within track limits. But the battle for Ballon D1 was absolutely fierce this season. Sort of either driver deserved to win it in the end. I mean, there was a little bit of a bigger gap come the end of the season, but well, Chalk has actually won more races than Shabby. It's 3-4, and Shabby just a little bit more consistent, getting a lot more podiums. Chalk slams on the brakes at turn 12, slight clip of the sausage curve. We'll see what this sort of first and second combination time. It's 1 minute 3.3. That's pretty good still in the Haas, it must be said. One of the Red Bulls, it looks like, coming around the final corner. Is that Baldy? I think it might be Baldy. It is Baldy. Oh no, it's Wesley. I think it was Wesley. Wesley goes into P9, sorry, with the in the Williams there. 1 minute 34.1. Can Chalkers match that or beat that? See, he just has to wait more than he would want to. Round the final corner we go. Number 20 of all the corners gets on the power. It's going to be a 1 minute 34.2. It's a pretty good time in the Haas, just a little bit shy of Wesley in the end, and just puts himself nicely tucked into that top 10 so far. There is Baldy, so to finish his time, he's now 34.6. Donkey Dan on a flying lap now. We'll see how he gets on in the Alfa Romeo. Purple in the middle sector, according to the mini-map on the bottom right hand of your screen. And we'll see how he gets on as he actually invalidates there on the exit. Unfortunate there for him. Who else is on a flying lap? Shabby's on a lap 10k invalidated, but he's going to be going again. Fox Blue as well. Both Alpines line astern on track, both invalidating. What seemed to be their first flying lap attempts. I think we got DMX pushing potentially. I think we do. He's a 10th up. He's gone purple in the first sector, according to the minimap, of course. It's not the most reliable thing in the world, but it's anything we've got to really go on. And he's nicely within track limits on the exit there. Is the Ferrari driver, potentially sporting a bit of a Ukraine helmet, sort of, you know, for Ukraine. We'll try and sort of play the politics this evening, but yeah, of course that is going on, and devastating scenes happening in Ukraine at the moment. But it's good to see a bit of support there. We're on the Ferrari driver heading down towards the heavy braking zone of turn 12, smashing on the brakes at 312 kph, gets the nose nicely tucked in second gear. And a bit of a wiggle there, a bit of a moment as he got onto the power. But again, he's found almost he's found over 3/4 of a second. Purple again, it seems. This could be a time that could challenge the Mercedes of Infamous at the top of the timesheets. We're sliding through the very difficult turn 15. Now it's full throttle. Absolutely committed in that Ferrari. The Ferrari is able to go full throttle through there. Chucks the car in. No crazy track limits like we've seen in IndyCar at the Circuit of Americas a few times. Round the final corner we go, onto the power, and this is going to be a 1 minute 33.333. So close, less than a tenth between himself and Infamous. A very, very good lap to slot himself between the Mercedes and the McLaren. Could that be the top of the timesheets we could see in real F1? Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren. I'm sure Red Bull will be up there. As well, speaking of the Red Bull, we got one coming out on track at the moment. As I think I swear somebody said a lap. But we watched him. I'm not sure. Maybe someone had time deleted. The McLaren of Alexander, 2.5 tenths down at the moment on his lap. Shabby, where is Shabby? Shabby's just about to finish his time. Somebody's just set a new lap. Shabby, what can he do? Can he get ahead of his teammate? Drag race towards the line now to 34.5. He goes P15 with that time. And well, McLaren driver. We'll go back on board with him. He's found a bit. He's clawed back a bit of time, trying to get himself into the 1 minute 33 yellow flag in sector 2. As the Ferrari of I think DYMX is getting out of the way there. Donkey Dan, I think, has gone into the 1 minute 33s as well. Whilst we've been watching things unfold, and Fox Blue in the Alpine as well. 33.658 for him. A very, very good time, it must be said. 2 corners from home. Runs a little bit wide. Gets away with it though. Gets away without the invalidation. Is he up? We're going to see now as he comes across the line. DRS wide open. It's a 33.9. Finds a tenth of a second. Questionable track limits, but I'm sure it would have cost him time rather than gained. Donkey Dan coming to pit lane. I think he's pushed the fuel potentially by the sounds of that one. Shabby going again. Looks like he might be. Heading. You can see quite interesting, of course, the difference in cars. Look at the speed at the bottom of your screen. I'm sure Shabby's not running, ridiculously high downforce compared to the other guys, but he's almost 10 kph down on the straights. But that is just the difference in the cars. That's what sort of almost the joys of running, slightly altered sort of running realistic cars, and Champion has backed off, it seems. As while all that's been going on, Jens Hoffer has set a new personal best, 33.906, 5 thousandths behind Alexander. I think we can have a very close battle up and down the field here this evening here in Kota. Oliver will set himself up, infamous on a push lap, throwing that car through the first sector. Mercedes, responding, and look at that, 2.5 tenths of a second up, 25.1. Very good first sector time, avoiding the curbs on the inside. That cannon sort of caused you to spin out, that sort of off-camber awkward chicane at the end of the first sector, making it very, very difficult for the drivers. And now as we race onto the back straight, there's a car up in front, but look at the bottom of your screen. This is what I'm going to highlight between the Mercedes, of course, meant to have the best power unit on the grid, versus the Haas. We're hitting, well, Haas, we barely hit 300 kph. In the Merc, we're hitting 317 as he slams on the brakes. There could be a different setup, of course, but I'm sure, especially, the circuit, like this, it's quite high downforce. Everyone's sort of running not that massive between sort of wing settings. But that's what we love the Race of Champions. Levels the playing field, and Infamous doing a fantastic job, it must be said, up at the front of the field, and he's improving. We might even see a 1 minute 32 here. Can he sneak in 132s? That's the way it's heading. Jens Hoffer dives into the pit lane for a new set of softs, maybe, or maybe that's his session over. Round the final corner we go, onto the pit straight to 32.9, dead, finding 3 tenths of a second, and that is a fantastic time at the front of Q1. Alexander doing a lot of laps on these soft tyres. I imagine he'll be into the pit lane very shortly. Wesley out on track, just about to start a flying lap, I think, heading up towards turn 1. You can brake so late up into turn 1, of course. Climbs roughly about 30 metres up the hill. Xavi just coming out onto the circuit for his final lap. Actually, we're going to follow 10k a little bit further up the road. 25.4 in the first sector is Alpine. His teammate Fox Blue currently in P5 on the timesheets. So where can he put the Alpine? What's his first sector look like? We roughly know what the combination time should be. Definitely in the 1 minute 3s. 1:3.2. That's competitive. I'd say that's going to be definitely in the 33s. If he can keep this momentum. Purple. It says Jarry has retired. I believe it's in the pit lane. I think Jarry thinking he can do no better. Currently up in P4. I mean, that's a fantastic time in the Williams. Jarry really maximising everything out of that car. Around the penultimate corner we go, just keeping it within track limits, and up to the final corner we go. Looks like Aston Martin maybe finishing or just about to start a flying lap. He's just about to finish. Across the line 10k goes. He goes into P9. Great lap from 10k. Xavi, I think, just starting a flying lap. I think maybe had a bit of an invalidation or a bit of a moment. We are, though, going to go back to Wesley, 10th down as things stand. That maybe is their time to find in this final sector. Having to manage the throttle through 16, 17 and 18. Just shows the demand, I think, in these cars. Of course, normally for these D1 drivers, go flat as you like, low on fuel, low on ERS. Has he got enough to get across the line? He does. He finds a 10th of a second. He moves himself 1 place ahead of Brandon, and 2 places ahead of Brandon Elliott, and moves himself up into P11 on the cusp at the moment for the top 10. Of course, it's the only the bottom 5, but the bottom 2 is already decided. And actually, I was about to say ends his bottom of the pile. We know he's not anymore. Finds a second, moves himself into P14. Chalkers are out on track, finding a 10th in the first sector, dropping down the hill towards turn 11. Hairpin, bit of a lock-up on the inside there for the birthday boy. 18 today, and what a better way to spend your birthday than the Race of Champions. The checkered flag is out on track, trying to work out who's going to be the first person to get to the checkered flag. I'm not sure, because there's a dark blue car, another dark blue class. Oh, I think it might be Wesley. Xavi on a push lap. He's found 3/10 of a second. Xavi a little bit further behind. And then it'll be Chalkers. These will be the guys we want to watch. They're the guys in the drop zone as things stands. Can't get in the way very nicely. Xavi, one more corner to negotiate in his Aston Martin. The front getting in nicely. Gets on the power nicely. Runs out of ERS deployment. But moves into P5. That's a fantastic lap. Late on, and now the attention turns to both of our 2 Haas drivers. They've got to absolutely find everything and a little bit more. Our first place and runner-up in D1, fighting for their lives in Q1. Chalkers gets on the power early. P8, what a time. Xavi is the next person we're going to pay attention to. He's just seen his teammate go P8, a fantastic time, to be fair, from Chalkers. That is brilliant in the Haas. Xavi wringing the neck out of this Haas car. Round the final corner we go. He's going to demand everything a little bit more on the throttle. Goes P16, just misses out, despite finding 4/10 of a second. And I think that, ladies and gentlemen, that is Q1 done and dusted. The first part of qualifying is over, and that was intense. It is fair to say. I imagine we won't see any more laps in, and we're just waiting for 2 guys to come into pit lane. But it's Infamous who leads the way in Q1, or Q2 and Q3 are still yet to come. But I mean, that was a very interesting first part of qualifying. The guys, unfortunately, not progressing. We've got Tiku and Stravoulis, unfortunately retired on track. Ends in P18, and Baldy in 17th, and Shabby unfortunately rounds off that bottom 5. P16, 36 thousandths off of the Mercedes of Aurelia. But it's Infamous who leads the way in his Mercedes. And well, have a look at the times. Again, it was a 32.9 dead for the Mercedes driver. Look at that, we've got a nice little grouping. The 2 Scotsmen of iiBbEeNnii and Jordan come 2nd and 3rd. Jerry 4th, Xavi 5th, Foxblue P6, Brandon 7th, Chalkers 8th, Alexander 9th, Jenshoff 10th, Doggy Down is 11th, 10K 12th, Guna 13th, Wesley 14th, Relic 15th. Unfortunately, the guys dropping out in Q1 is Shabby, Wally, Enns, Stravoulis and Tiku. More to the bottom 2, not setting a time on the board. I'm not quite sure where they would have slotted into. Maybe some work to do during the race. But yeah, very, very good time. 4/10 the gap up at the front, but then it comes very, very thick and fast. A lot of guys around this sort of 7/10 to just over a second mark. So I think the sort of that midfield battle could be really, really interesting today. And well, now it's probably the most interesting part of qualifying. It must be said, what tyres are people going to go with for the race? Are people going to go with softs? Is probably the big question. Is anyone going to risk the mediums? Based off that last session, I think maybe a few guys could. And that's, that's something we probably would want to see. A bit of mix up, and look at Wesley straight away. First person to flick to the mediums, and Javi does follow, as you see on the left hand side of your screen. While we've got a brief lull in proceedings, let's run through some of your drivers this evening. So unfortunately, Shabby dropping out of the session. A lot of guys on the mediums is fair to say. Yeah, but to start with Division 1, work our way down. Hopefully by the end of qualifying we'll sort of run through everybody that's here. Hopefully I don't miss out anyone. But yeah, D1. So you've got Shabby, Chalkers, and Jari, and then Wesley stood in for Michael on this occasion. So Relic, who's at the head of the train? One of the motor car on track, rather than just people sat in the pit lane. There we go, it's Wesley leading the way in the Williams, first person to select the medium tyres. It was, but Shabby, yes, win the championship in C1. Also won the Constructors with his teammate Wesley, which is why he's here, Constructors champions. Shabby, 3 wins, 9 podiums. Mr. Consistent, always up at the front. Only 1 pole to his name, but 4 fastest laps. Really, really strong racer is Shabby. Always naturally just found his way to the front, even if he wasn't there. Chalkers, super quick, 4 poles across the season, 4 wins, joint highest with Jari, also from C1, currently in the Williams, currently down in P14, but of course no lap times set at the moment. Jari actually the most poles in C1, 5 to his name, and had a really strong showing in the Mercedes, coming 3rd in the Constructors as well, so very good all-round season for them. And then Wesley, another consistent driver, 1 podium to his name, but sort of always in and around the points, it's fair to say, and that's why they won the Constructors Championship. And we'll start C2, hopefully a little bit later on when there's a bit of a lull in qualifying. We'll talk about Donkey Down, Tiku. Peter Vol can't be here, I believe, and that's why 10K maybe step forward as joint Constructors champions of C2. But we're going to follow Wesley up towards turn number 1. That climb, making the braking zone that little bit later. You can brake later into turn 1. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, just before the race. Very crucial start of this one. Such a good opportunity into turn 1 for a lot of drivers. Weaving our way through this first sector. Clip the curbs, avoid the sausage curb, and make sure you keep within track limits. That's the crucial thing, especially in that first sector. It is a track that can incur, track limits penalties, and of course you don't want to do that in qualifying. Invalidating your lap, runs as wide as he dares on the exit of turn 9. Heading down towards, got a McLaren in front of us that could give us a bit of a slipstream. Not sure which one that is, but you can see it's quite interesting the difference in people choosing softs or mediums. I'm quite intrigued by Infamous going for the softs. I feel like he had the pace, especially from what we saw in Q1. to go for the medium. Wesley, with that Mercedes engine, finding quite a bit of pace actually, heading it down towards turn 12. Nicely through there, and then it was a combination going to be a 3.9, but on these medium tyres it's going to be a little bit slower. I feel only just made it into Q2, so we'll have to see what this final time looks like for Wesley, your experienced racer in league racing. I'm sure the C1 and C2 guys have got a plan in the slower cars. I'm really going to have some fun today. I hope. You never know. Could be up at the front. Jarry, good showing in that last session in the Williams, obviously said, and well, only one casualty from some of the slower cars. Across the line, Wesley goes to 35.2. First up on the mediums, beaten straight away by D1IX, and the lap times are going to come in thick and fast, I imagine. So we'll try and find Infamous just coming round the penultimate corner, and Valet this time looks like he's going to dive into the pit lane. Bit of a late call as Gentoffer puts his car onto provisional pole. A few guys and Valets in there, not as many lap times as probably would have expected to see. Let's follow Jordan through the first sector. He does a 25.4, good time. Lap time just come in there for the McLaren of Alexander, and the Williams of Jarry and Reliant goes on a provisional pole. 33.5, good show for him. He was a little bit further down, I think, than I was maybe expecting in that first session, but you know, got through, and that's all that matters, and he's showing the pace straight away here in Q2, maybe sandbagging or holding back just a little bit on this occasion. But then there's Jordan, powers his way with that Mercedes power unit down towards turn number 12, and I think maybe the difference in engines could be a real big factor today. Of course, you don't see that, because normally in league racing everyone's equal, but the guys with the Mercedes power units maybe a little bit more racy come start of the Grand Prix. That's a factor we'll have to think about. Maybe we can talk about it during the race itself to see how that one plays out. Jordan, though, avoids the slow car and flat in the McLaren through 16, 17 and 18. Sets himself up for turn 19. He's really going to throw that car and flick it in as fast as you dare. And one more corner to negotiate. There's cars bunching all up through the stadium section, trying to sort of just fight for a bit of space. And across the line, Jordan goes 34.1. Good first time of the session, and that's a Williams of Wesley going again. He's had a cool down lap, and he's going to push again on these medium tyres. Brandon on an out lap, Donkey down an out lap, Tank out an out lap, and Infamous also on an out lap, back out onto the circuit for those guys. So a few guys diving into the pit lane. Some of the medium guys maybe going for 2 runs here. Also, he's found almost a tenth of a second through the twisty first sector. Fox Blue a little bit further up the road, not improving on his second run, it seems. Keeps him in track limits though, and he is going to dive into the pit lane, so not happy with that one. Jarry again called the lap and going in. Guna 2 laps on the softs, a bold call. I probably wouldn't do 2 laps on the softs, just because of you don't want any more extra laps on a softer compound. But unless they're confident they can beat those times, we'll have to find out a little bit later. Heading back to Wesley, slams on the brakes down into turn number 12. Very nice blue and white Williams snaking its way now through a very technical part of the lap. Purple in the middle sector. That Mercedes power unit, I'm sure, helping already, talking about that. And that could be a key factor come a little bit later on. But we'll see now as he makes his way. Keeping it just about flat. Keeps it very well within check. We'll see what Wesley can do. Can he improve on that 35? Around the final corner we go. And on to the main straight. DRS wide open. It's going to be a 34.9. Moves himself up in a P8 just behind his Williams teammate for the evening. And that's Guna. 3rd lap on the softs. As he finds a little bit more time. There's a 34 flat. And the Alfa Romeo of Donkey Down just starting to fly up, an Infamous. A little bit further up the road. What's his first sector looking like? 25.4. Purple. What the mini map suggests. 10k. Further up the road, just finishing his middle sector. He's ready at finishing his lap. He's up on his lap. He's going to finish it. Bold call. But he finds even more time to 33.3. Really showing some good pace is the Mercedes driver. But yeah, quite a few laps on his softs. That's an interesting call, it must be said. 10k, not far finishing up. He will be the next car to cross the line on his soft compound tyres. It seems that so far everyone who's set a lap time on the soft, part of that top 5. as maybe you would expect. Across the line, 10K goes on to provisional pole by 8 thousandths of a second. Of course, not provisional pole, but it's P1. That's just sort of what you naturally say, I guess. As we stand in the Aston Martin, I got that wrong. It's not an Aston Martin, it's an Alpha Tauri of Brandon. A little bit slow on that one, so maybe a cool-down lap, as we've seen quite a few guys do. Where's he on an in-lap, it seems? Gunnar and Benlights, he's on an in-lap. And Infamous around the final corner. What's his first time of the session going to be? It's going to be a 33.8. A bit back from his teammate, but still P4 nevertheless. And Chalkers maybe invalidated that time, as there is no time on the board, but he has set a lap, it seems. We'll follow our C2, sorry, our D1, there we go, runner-up, and 25.7 in the first sector for the Haas driver. Heading it down towards turn number 11 now. Number 50, he is sporting DRS. Oh, really kicking out there. Not planted down like he would have wanted to. I might be saying that could be due to down to the car. Has maybe finding a little bit more speed on the straights. Maybe a difference in Q1 and 2, or maybe Shabby's just running that much downforce. I am not sure. Maybe sandbagging a little bit. Who knows? Who knows? Well, only he will know. But 1:04 combination time for Chalkers. A lot of guys now out on track, or heading back into the pit lane, so we could be getting that lull just before the final rush at the end of Q2. Some interesting tyre choices, I think, especially if we look on the left-hand side for Gunnar and Relia, really putting a lot of laps on their softs. Could that cost them come the race? Well, only one way to find out. And that's when it starts, or the end of the session. They could, of course, improve their times. Chalkers started in the pit lane, so I think it's going to quickly have a quick talk about D2. My apologies. Donkey Dam in the Alfa Romeo, champion of C2. 3 wins, 7 podiums, 6 poles. A very, very good qualifier. Maybe lacked a little bit in the race compared to others, but just did the job in qualifying and managed to convert enough. Won by 6 points over Tiku. Unfortunately, didn't make it into Q2. And then Donkey Dam's Williams teammate 10K here as well. He is currently top of the timesheets. It's fair to say C2, D2. Apologies. Keep saying C rather than D. C, of course, would stand for category rather than division. But there we go. Jordan finding some really good pace in that first sector. 0.2 of a second up. But it was very competitive in D2. The top 4 separated by 20 points, which after 14 races is not a lot. It is fair to say. But very, very good stuff down in D2, or up in D2. I think it's fair to say. Up in every division. But the race wins were really spread out, and that was really good to see. The most, Peter Vol, only 4 wins in that particular occasion. And then we'll talk about D3 maybe during the crossover between Q2 and Q3, because I imagine we're going to get a flurry of laps. We've got quite a few guys on out laps. Jordan, though, finding even more time, half a second up in that McLaren. And he gets a really nice wide entry into turn 15. Yellow flags. The 2 Ferraris are, I don't know what the 2 Ferraris are doing, but they've caused yellow flags. So hopefully it's all fun and games. Down at Ferrari, running nice and wide. Is Jordan carrying the speed through there, drops it down into 5th, gets the car in nicely, really good run through there, around the final corner we go. I know it's C, it's force of habit, but look at that time from Jordan, 32.9, and it's the second person of the evening to go into the 1:32s, and while we was discussing whether it's D's or C's, DYMX puts himself in a P2. Of course the Ferraris were having fun down in the first sector. Wesley and Jarry on push laps as well at the moment. Jarry just a little bit up the road. We're going to follow the Williams pair. This will be the first cars sort of on the road, I think. Next we'll set laps. A lot of guys on our laps. A lot of guys going for that 1 lap, almost that 1 lap shootout with themselves. The best track conditions available. Leaving it right to death, knowing what you have to do, because maybe you don't want to put too much on a set of tyres. We're going to put the how do I get them? There we go. Best tyres up, so we know what people. Unless they improve, this is what the tyres where the top 10 will be starting on. Jarry on softs finding 0.8 of a second. This could be a mega time from Jarry, really hooking it up and, well, moving on to the softs, and his teammate doing exactly the same. They are very much on the cusp, especially with the likes of Chalkers not seeing the time. They don't really know where they stand at the moment, especially with Foxblue, Xavi, Brandon still to run in this session. course, having another lap. These will be the first guys to set a lap time in this final sort of part of the session. Jarry around the final corner onto the main straight to 33.1. That's a fantastic time from Jarry. What can Wesley do? Around the final corner now. Out of deployment goes P6. The Williams drivers putting down some fantastic laps in their cars. Chalkers on an out lap. Bottom 4 currently on an out lap. Alexander putting on the softs as well. He's found 0.3 of a second. The one guy I'm quite interested about is Infamous. He's gone for the medium tyres. Maybe sandbagging a little bit. Riley on an out lap on a new set of softs. That's a person I want to see. Sort of got to improve this lap. You would have thought. Doesn't really want to start on 3-lap old soft tyres. But Imps go for the mediums. Half a tenth down at the moment. See, Chalker's about to start a flying lap time. The McLaren of Alexandria almost a second up. And he just, he runs a little bit wide, but he can go again if he's got the ERS and fuel for it. This will be very, very interesting. Of course, he won't, this time will not be valid. It would have put him into P3 just by 0.003 of a second. This is where tyres become so crucial in a full section qualifying. You've got to really get it right in Q2. Chalkers on the soft compound tyres, just setting a lap. Foxblue also on the soft tyres. He's going to get a lovely tow from Jens Hoffer in front, who's also on a fly lap. They're really bunched at the moment. 3 guys. Looks like one of the Mercedes is leading the way as well, with Mercedes just about to come around at the final corner. It's Infamous who is down. Infamous is down at the moment on these mediums. He's going to get another attempt as he goes around the final corner. Dearest wide open, and he's 0.2 down. He needs to find 0.3 per second on this lap. Well, this is it. I would imagine people will improve. Donkey Dan finding time. Gooney just about to start a flying lap. 0.2 up is Alexander in the McLaren. Xavi, as we missed the split unfortunately, but I'm sure he's up at the moment. Foxblue 0.7 per second up. Brandon 2's up for the first sector. Who's next across the line? And get his Donkey down. We flicked away from him. Of course, he's marging up, but he needs to find these gains. If he can find it 0.2 per second, he can put himself up in a P6. Round the final we go. And he lost a lot of time in that final section, unfortunately for him. And now we're going to get a flurry of drivers crossing the line. I don't think Reliot improved. We just started a flying lap. Reliot will be the final guy to cross the line, and he needs this. Infamous is finding time in the first sector. This is crucial for him, and he could start on the medium tyres. That could be a great strategy call. Guna, his session is over. He invalidated, unfortunately for him. Alexander, we've got a hat in front of us. That is Chalkers. What can he do around the final corner? 18 today. Can he get out of Q2? Just about as things stand. Alexander crosses the line. He goes P7, puts Chalkers down into the P10 drop zone. Infamous has lost time again though in the middle sector. Not going well for the Mercedes driver. Donkey down off the track. Guna invalidated, of course. Xavi absolutely flying. And Chalkers is on the cusp. I think he might be dropping out of qualifying, unfortunately for him. Across the line we go, and it stays P14 for Xavi, invalidating right at the death. Brandon goes up to P8, dropping Chalkers down into the drop zone. What can Infamous do? We'll flick to Reliot straight after Mercedes driver, just heading down towards turn 12. Not sure if he's actually on a push lap, but and Infamous invalidates at the final moment. Lost time though in that final sector, and he starts P12. The person who dominated the first part of qualifying, and all attention clicks to Mercedes drivers. Reliot currently starting the race on 3-lap old soft tyres. Not what you want. 3 push laps in them is far from ideal. He's got a car right behind him in the Red Bull. Mercedes and Red Bull. I wonder where we've seen that one before. Around the final corner we go. Around the penultimate corner we go. Then around the final corner we go. This time has got to be improved, in my opinion. Across the line we go. He does it. He does it. It's a great lap when it mattered for Reliot, and he goes into P4 safely through. And then we have our top 10. Little shout out, in my opinion, to Wesley and Jarry in the Williams. Fantastic stuff from them. Donkey Dan retires, so we finish Q2 and on to the final part of qualifying. There we have it. The top 10 is decided. The bottom 5, unfortunately, missing out, and it's Jordan who tops the timesheet. Again, only one person into the 1:32s, but again, it's the 2 Scotsmen up near the front of Jordan and DYX. Then Jarry, great time in the Williams. Reliot improving right at the depth to make sure it didn't start on very old tyres. Then we had 10K. Jens Hoffer, Alexander, Brandon, Foxblue, and Wesley round out your top 10, and just missing out, unfortunately, are Chalkers, Infamous, Donkey Dan, Guna, and Xavi. And already not setting a valid time on those soft compound tyres. But it's time for Q3, the final part of qualifying and the real shootout. Who is your favourite for pole position? I think there's a lot of candidates. The 2 Scotsmen have put themselves right up there. Which one, though, is going to be the Flying Scotsman here in qualifying this evening? And a brief pause before we go again. And I guess we only 2 divisions through the 6, so we'll have to try and get through them as quickly as we can, but of course give them the credit. They deserve Division 3, won by Fox Blue, Stravulis in 2nd, Xavi in 3rd. Of course, Ferrari winning the constructors on that one. Then came 2nd and 3rd in the drivers. Fox Blue winning overall, and well, it was a battle of who was a bit more consistent up at the front. Fox Blue and Stravulis really battling out through the season, 10 podiums apiece, but it was 4 wins for Fox Blue to Stravulis' 3. That sort of dealt the final blow, if you like, on that one. Really going out on the medium tyres, which is an interesting call. As a straight out in qualifying, we've got Fox Blue and Jens Hoffer. Fox Blue leads the way, so we'll naturally follow him. But yeah, I mean, the Ferrari's doing very well, and that's why Xavi's here. Unfortunately, missing out on this, and Fox Blue actually the only representative of D3 in Q3. And to see how he gets on in the Alpine. The Alpine looking relatively competitive as a pair, very closely matched through qualifying. So far, Division 4, actually where we move to next. That was one with Brandon, ends in 2nd, Jordan in 3rd. And well, Brandon and Jordan both looking very competitive in this session. Ends unfortunately missing out on progressing after Q1. But again, a lot of consistent performances. Brandon especially, 8 podiums during the season. Only 1 pole to his name, just super consistent. 3 wins though, so definitely a driver with pace and well. We can see here in Q3 fighting up at the front, so I'm sure he will be there or thereabouts when these 12 minutes are over. Ends 5 wins to his name, highest number of wins in D4, and Jordan as well. And never got a pole though. We'll see, didn't get a pole all the way through season 2, but can he put it on? Can he put his McLaren on pole come the end of Q3 in the Race of Champions? I mean, what a time to get your first pole of the season right at the death. But Fox Blue comes around the final corner. Everybody out on track at the moment. We'll go through D5 and hopefully D6 in the closing minutes. So that midpoint. Good turn 1 there from Fox Blue. Got the car nicely rotated and dropping down the hill. Of course, this is where you find the time in this first section is about carrying the speed best you can, negotiate these, trying to scrub as little speed as possible. Opts to keep it in 7th, drops it in 6th, and he comes towards the end of this first sector, 25.2, which is a really good first sector time for the Alpine driver. Purple at the moment, of course, the only driver. Set a first sector time nicely within track limits. The car not wanting to slide about too much on the exit and dropping down to you can really dive in quite late. The apex sort of is quite far away from you, so you can take a really sort of late apex cut back and a really good exit now as he opens DRS, running it down towards the end of the back straight. Climbing up through the gears, hitting 319 kph when he slams on the brakes. Again, taking the corner very nicely there, and the combination time is 1 minute 2.7. That's pretty quick off the top of my head. Finding time is the Alpine driver. Into the stadium section we go. Nice bit of curb on the inside. Gets a good rotation. The car flicked around a little bit there without upsetting the rear. Really nice there from Fox Blue. Well, championship winner, you'd expect nothing less. Into the bottom corner we go. Drops it down into 5th gear. Gets on the power very nicely. Well within track limits. Slams on the brake for the final time of the lap. Goes into 3rd gear. Drifts a little bit wider than we wanted to, but across the line to 33.331. That's a fantastic start to his qualifying session. Jens Hoffer around the final corner. A little bit down the first 2 sectors. What can he do in the final one? Probably roughly about the same. Brandon, next driver, to set a time on the board. The rear very light there. He's around the final corner. He goes P3 with that time. And Jarry goes on to provisional pole, 32.992. If first person into the 32s in this Q3 session. Relly, I think, maybe diving into the pit lane. Next driver across the line will be Wesley, maxing out this Williams as he flicks the car in. Not kind of wanting to bite as he would have wanted it to, using all the track a little bit more. I mean, that's what we've sort of a trend we've been seeing from the D1 and D2 drivers. Across the line to 33.9, goes P5 as things stand. Next across the line will be 10k. That's not really the line you want to be taking around the final corner, but goes into P2 nevertheless. Alexander across the line, he goes into P2 exactly the same time as Jarry. Wow, but of course he set it after, so Zhari keeps the position, but very, very close up at the front. And, well, Jordan, unfortunately, invalidating on this attempt, so we'll have to wait for another moment. iiBbEeNnii, again, a little bit down on this one. He's going to dive into the pilling. No, he's going to go again with another attempt. And he now runs across the line. If 140 was his time, but that's not quite as representative, I think, as we'd expect from the Scotsman. Up towards turn 1, gets the car in nicely. Had to almost take 2 bites as he wanted diving, sort of straight line the braking, which I think maybe did help him get the car slowed down, and he actually got the apex quite nicely. Now ready to open up 3, 4, 5 and 6. Great use of curb actually, and very respectful of track limits, maybe just wanting to get a decent time on the board in this early stage of Q3. Yellow flags are being waved, I think just down at seems like the pit lane entry, but no worry for us here. Nicely within track limits, and well, keeping it valid now as he goes down towards the brake zone. Straight lines it, late turning, getting a good exit. That's what it's all about, the Ferrari opening its legs, and well, if testing's anything to go by, that 2022 Ferrari power unit seems to be a bit of a beast, maybe sort of going back to what they had in sort of 2018, 2019, when it was a bit of a monster. Really wanting to snap out from them, and well, I called it a monster, and there we go. Purple middle sector though, so was a bit of a handful, but it's definitely quick for iiBbEeNnii. Gets the car in nicely using all the track, and that was a nice fluid flow, and now he opens up 16, 17 and then 18, sort of represented by the 3 bits of curbing, and he wants to set himself up very nicely for turn 19. He's taking it very well, got the power nice and early, keeps to the right hand side to set himself very nicely for the final corner, stamping on his foot, right pedal once more, and it's a 33 flat, goes P3. Good time from him, and I think we've got the slight lull we were kind of hoping for, as everybody seems to be in the pits. And there we go. Who are we on? We did D4, it's time for D5. Division 5, won by, well, the man on your screen, iiBbEeNnii. That's a rogue line to take. We'll ignore that one for the Race of Champions. I'm sure he just had a moment rather than just cutting across. But there we go. iiBbEeNnii, top of the pile, 6 wins this season, 9 podiums, 5 poles, really dominant performance in his AlphaTauri. Gunnar just behind in P2, unfortunately not making it to Q3, and then Infamous rounded off in 3rd. Alfa Romeo won the Constructors' Championship, which I rally it's here, driving in the Mercedes. Good showing from Alfa Romeo. Cross season, very consistent between the pair of them, just pipping AlphaTauri, which was forefronted by championship winner iiBbEeNnii. But it was 7 podiums as well for Gunnar, very consistent driver. Could we see that come through the race? I think we're going to see a very interesting blend of sort of, I found that you can generally get quali drivers and race drivers, or a bit of both. So we could see potentially in the race, and maybe some people come back. You know, people that tend to be a little bit better at quali. But again, that's the joys of mixing up, you know, everything to do with all the divisions. Yes, people are on outlaps for the final part, trying to work out who's furthest ahead. It is going to be Elliot, so we will look at him in a brief moment of time. But quick chat about the Division 6. Jens Hoffer, top of the pile, 5 podiums for him, 2 wins as well. Aston Martin top of the timesheet, which iiBbEeNnii Baldy's here, and then Alexander as well in the McLaren. He came 3rd, reserving in D6, and really it heads up to turn number 1. Great job from Jens Hoffer winning at Division 6. Infamous not too far behind. Ready though, dropping down into the 1st sector, and now you can see all the grandstands waiting for him to weave his way through, a bit like Magus and Beckett. Very great place to watch Formula 1 cars, of course, in at Silverstone, but also here as well. Very demanding, and it's you know, really seeing the downforce at work. Getting a nice exit. Yellow flags are up the road, but it's just because the car's getting away very nicely and not wanting to give his rival a tow down the main straight, or the back straight. Potentially, that Mercedes does not need a tow. It's going to open its legs now, like a gazelle galloping down the back straight. I couldn't think of a faster American animal. I don't think bisons are really known for their running. But there we go. Anyway, ready to slam on the brakes. Gets the car into 2nd, avoiding the sausage curb perfectly there. And now gets goes nice and wide. 1 minute 2 point, basically 8. For the first two sectors combined. Using third gear, drops in a second, just helps the rotation, helps the acceleration out of the corner. And we'll flick straight to Jordan to see how he gets on with his lap. Once Relic closes out his, he will have time for another flying lap. Goes a little bit deep though into the penultimate corner. It's his first time on the board this session, maybe just a bit of fit of wanting to get a valid lap in. Round the final corner we go, and it's a 33.435. He goes into P6. Jordan though, round the final corner, and boom, provisional pole. That's what almost we were expecting a little bit after a strong sort of Mr. Consistent through qualifying. It's fair to say DYMX is another consistent driver. Just waiting for him to finish his out lap, currently up at the top end of the circuit. Down at turn 11. Alexander going a little bit deep. And probably not getting the power like he would have wanted to. But the fact the ERS has just gone up, I don't think he's on a flying lap just yet, maybe just backing off on this one. Jens Hoffer though, end of the first sector. Brandon just behind him, we can see the Red Bull in front. It's a Red Bull AlphaTauri little train at the moment. Anybody else on a flying? Alexander, yeah, 35. Not a flying lap he'd have wanted to, but he can go again, and this is where the final lap, Jarry starting his final lap time. Pushing for pole, Wesley starting his final lap time. So Jens Hoffer is the first car out on track, I think, to finish his final lap. He will be the first of the 10. Everybody out on track, and everybody going for a lap right at the death now. Heading into the technical part of that 3/10 of a second up, that would put him maybe into P6, finding a few positions. Can he find a little bit more time? Can he get into the 32s? It's very, very close. All the way through the top 10 as things stand. The Honda-powered Red Bull flying through. 2 more corners to go. Drops the car into 5th, using a lot of curb, and he's invalidated. This will be Jens Hoffer's final time. He's going to duck into the pit lane. Who is next? It is Brandon. Round the final corner he goes. Can he improve from P9? Can he improve his 33.7? He can into 33.3, P6 for the AlphaTauri driver. I'm now trying to find it's one of the McLarens. It's Alexander who's a 10th down at the moment. He's had a fantastic time. He only needs to find 1,000 to beat Jarry. How's Jarry getting on? A little bit further back. He's going to get a lovely tow. And I think that's 10k just in front of him. Oh, we're paying attention to Alexander with 2 more corners to go. He throws in that McLaren. Somehow avoids the validation. Of course, he's seen his teammate put it on pole. Around the final corner we go. DRS wide open across the line. It's a 33.2, and he doesn't find improvements. Who is next? It is Wesley. 10th of a second up at the moment. Currently down. I don't know how Wesley finishes his deployment so quickly. He always finishes it. Across the line, Wesley goes. P8 for him. He finds 2 positions. 10k around the final corner. Invalidate. So next is to come is Fox Blue. And then it's Jarry. I want to follow Jarry because he is 24 seconds down. That's far from ideal. Jarry, he will not improve. Fox Blue does go into P5. And trying to find out who is next to cross the line. It's the Ferrari of DYMX. He's slowed down. That's interesting. Really though, 2 corners go. He's a 10th of a second up. Needs to find a little bit of time, and a little bit of time would find him a lot of positions. Around the final corner he goes. Slams on the power. It's going to be a 32.8. Goes into P2. Great showing from Relay after, and Jordan ducks into pit lane. He knows he's got provision. He's got pole. Jordan is on pole position in the McLaren. I spoke to him a little bit earlier, and he was brimming with excitement for this. So fantastic showing from Jordan, and yeah, very, very impressive from the McLaren driver, from the Scotsman. And he is our pole position man. The McLaren crew will be congratulating down there. And very, very well done to him. But really, fantastic showing as well. After just, I'm pretty sure he only just made it through Q1, relatively speaking. So fantastic showing from him. And Jarry, well, I think it's fair to say that Williams has been absolutely thrown around this circuit. Fantastic showing, and well, compared to his teammate, Wesley, another fantastic driver. Fair to say, to be fair to him, that time is fantastic in the Williams. But just look at Jarry. I mean, it's absolute super stuff from the Dutchman, an all Dutch Williams team as well. But the Scot beats the Englishman. That's a weird thing to say as someone from London, but there we go. Jordan from Reliant, from Jarry, from Alexander, from DYMX, Fox Blue, 10k Brandon, Wesley and Jens Hoffer. 2 McLarens, 2 Williams, 2 Alpines, and then a few other drivers scattered about as well. But that's only qualifying. That's half the fun. It's now time for the racing. And a bit, well, we've all really been looking forward to. The Race of Champions is about to get underway. Circuit of the Americas is the host of this circuit. We've seen a fantastic qualifying duel in and around Dakota. Well, this next season we'll be hosting sort of the US Grand Prix in Tangent with Miami. The last time that happened was in 1984. And Dallas and Detroit did it. The US Grand Prix, well, 330 million people, the third largest country in the world. Well, 53 overtakes back in 2019, made it the third overtaking race after turn on the circuit. 3.42 miles. Top speed potential of 340 kilometers per hour. Too long, dear wrestlers. Again, have some fun with that. Try not to turn off the high on the circuit, 30 metres. And well, those 30 metres will be the last of the breakers. Speaking of this was Dan Ricciardo made his battle up into turn back in 2019. Ran getting ahead of the race, pushing up a little bit. Could see a little bit out. Today turns up though. I think he's going to speed up to today. Apologies. I may have just disconnected. We're back. There we go. Apologies for that. The race prediction strategy is up on screen. And yeah, so we could be looking at 1 stop or a 2 stop. It's going to be very difficult. 2 drivers are disqualified right at the back of the field. It's a little bit unfortunate for them. But yes, apologies for that. Should all be sorted now. Not quite sure what happened. You maybe see the very dodgy way I'm doing this. But nevertheless, it gives us a bit more entertainment and spice up the stream, hopefully, for all of you at home. Tyres, though, is what I've been looking for. Softs for all of the top 10, mediums for everybody else, apart from Tiku. He has opted for the soft common tyres, starting back to the field, back to maybe a little bit cold. We're coming to the end of the formation now. Luckily we got that all sorted out. When we did, apologies for that once again, but we should be all ready to get going for the Race of Champions. It's Jordan from Reliot, from Jarry, Alexander, DYMX, Fox Blue, 10K, Brandon, Wesley, Gentovich top 10, then it's Chalkers, Infamous, Donkey Dan, Guna, Javi, Shabby, Baldy, Ends. Stravulis and Tiku round out your field. But it's the Race of Champions, the best of DTR, battling it out here at Kota. The fans are gathering, the fans are here at large, running up to turn 1. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Who's going to be the bravest when it all comes to slamming on the brakes? And it looks like we go for have our 5 red lights. We have 5 red lights here at the Circuit of the Americas. And it's lights out and away we go for the Race of Champions. Who's got the best of starts? Up at the front, it could be the Mercedes, could be a repeat of 2020, but no, the Williams coming back at him. Can Jordan hold the lead into someone? It's a late dive though from Alexander. He looks for the move and he's maybe going to make it at McLaren 1-2. I think he might have just done it. Everybody getting through turn 1 relatively cleanly. Alexander, they're being battled out there, sort of pushed out there by Jarry. Jarry holding on to P2. And position changes up and down the field as they weave their way through this first sector. The Aston Martin dueling away there with the Haas. I think that might be of Chalkers, Xavi and Chalkers going at it a little further back. Tigu making up quite a few places. He's battling away with BV. Baldy further down the field. Baldy maybe just getting ahead. Oh, and there's a bit of contact between the pair of them. Baldy spinning round on this occasion. Unfortunately dropping to the back of the field. But as they weave their way now towards the end of this, well, end of the first sector into the middle sector. The battle is about to kick off once again. We get down onto the long straight on the board with Wesley. The pistol strategy is there for everybody to see. Looks like everyone just sort of holding firm, holding station at the moment. We could have a move as Foxboro's looking for a way past, but no way through just there. Chalker's going down the inside of Xavi. Is he going to clip the Red Bull? He could make it a double move here. Trying to get past Jens Hoffer as well. He's trying to get through as many soft runners as they can. A little bit of a lock up there for Chalkers. No way through. Could we see? Bit of a dive as Gunnar maybe is dueling away as well. Chalkers under attack rather than attacking. Gunnar on the inside. Unfortunately going to lose out to Tiku around the outside. Great first lap of clean, relatively clean and strong racing. We'll see now as they go towards the end of this lap. We're looking at the battle for P14. Xavi just ahead as Jordan set the fastest lap of the race, leading things away, and it's the top two pushing clear out front. The gap just under a second at the moment. Alexander the first gap over a second in the field, but he's very much within touching distance of the Williams in front of him. DMX pushing the Mercedes up, and round turn one, Reliot holding firm though as things stand, trying to follow the battles up and down the field. Could we see a move around the outside? Reliot blocks it though. Could we see then a flick to the inside? I think there may have been a bit of contact there, but there wasn't, so it's fine. Wesley trying to get his nose in as well, and so is 10K. The battle really kicking off here as DMX can't find a way past Reliot. And here goes 10K down the inside. Unorthodox place to make a move, but he's made it work, and he moves into that Alpine up in a P6. But DMX is not giving up the fight just here. And we could see Wesley with that Mercedes power unit have a go at all three. And there was no DRS available as things stand. We've got the best view in the house. We'll switch to an even better one as we flick down towards turn 12. Could we have three abreast here? The Red Bull's getting involved now. Of Jens Hoffer as well, just behind. He's going to go down the inside of Donkey Dan. Can he make the move work? Donkey Dan holds that one clean around the outside, and we will slot into order. Relatively as we were. I think the only real changes. Oh, there's McLaren. That's Alexander who's spinning around. Avoided any contact with anybody. Lucky for everybody. And unfortunately dropping down after a fantastic qualifying, losing out. 10K though, he's got a bit more better grip than Reliot. Could we see a move around the outside here on the Mercedes driver? No, we're going to hold firm as things stand. The guys bunch up as they're dueling away, and this is just helping the guys at the front. Reliot does dive into the pit lane. Maybe it's the old soft tyres we talked a little about earlier. I think he did have 2 laps on them rather than 3. So I have to see how see what tyres he goes on to. Maybe it's hard to the end is his thinking. Maybe he picks up a little bit of wing damage from earlier on. Donkey Dan looking for a bit of a dive, I think. Down the inside of Wesley, just sort of showing him the nose. Put him off a little bit. Xavi and Javi still dueling away. They are not separated by much. And look at that gap at the front between Foxborough and Jarry. Really extended after these opening exchanges. They got 3.7 seconds. Wesley, just trying to almost get through the field. This is just unfamiliar territory, I think it's fair to say, for our D1 champion. And Wesley and DMX have swapped positions further up the road. Wesley moves up as Xavi and Xavi still going at it, and Xavi has got ahead on this occasion. We do have DRS active and enabled, and looking a little bit further up the road. That's a move for the lead as Jarry goes down the inside of Jordan. Can Jordan try the switch back? Not on this occasion. And Jarry takes control of the race as things stand. Jules going up and down the field. That's a bit of a dive. Jens Hoffer, DMX is going to hold the position, but actually is going to allow maybe Donkey Dan to go around the outside of the Red Bull. He's just going to get ahead. Alexander making his way, trying to make his way back through the field, moves himself up into P14 ahead of Gunnar. Can we see a move around the outside of Chalkers? The door just shut on him there by the Red Bull man. A little bit further up the order, you've got Jordan keeping within that second of Jam. That's going to be important for DRS, because it then switches in favour of the McLaren driver as they head up towards turn number 1. Slamming on the brakes allows himself to reel himself a little bit closer. DYMX, is he close enough to pressure Wesley up the hill? I don't think so on this occasion. There's a move between Shabby and Tiku. Tiku's going down the inside. The driver who started right at the back, now up into P11. Shabby not giving up as a few time penalties starting to be dished out. Infamous and Shavula's picking up the first warning penalties, and it's so easy to do around here in Kota. We saw that throughout qualifying. I think we might see that throughout the race. Hopefully that does not decide things when we get to the end of this one. And well, I've started to speak of them, and they're coming in thick and fast now. But who is who's at the front of the train. We might see a move from DYMX on Wesley. A Ferrari. Will he be challenging the Williams down into the braking zone? I think he will. He's going to get alongside. Oh no, he's going to tuck right back in. Maybe playing a little of tactics early on. Who isn't playing tactics is Chalkers, goes down the inside of Infamous. Squeeze him out on the exit. That's a great move from the D1 driver. A little bit further back, Xavi and Alexander battling away. Alexander can't find a way past on this occasion. And has to tuck in behind the Aston Martin driver as we progress on. Oh no, we're going to crash. We're going to crash. Alexander spinning around. We just saw the end of that. Not sure who else is off. I think maybe Stravulis coming off, and actually Ends getting involved in that one as well. Looks to be missing a bit of his front wing. We very much saw the end of it. But maybe just it was sort of free wide through that corner. Does not work as DLMX goes down the inside of Wesley. Jordan keeping well within touching distance of... I said that, and now he's not lost 0.5 of a second, unfortunately. And 1.4 seconds is the gap now. A little bit further back, Stravulis and Baldy swap positions, but we could get a sort of a cut-back defence here. And the Aston Martin is going to try and hold this one around the outside. Who's going to be the first to yield? Neither of them. And the Red Bull does slot ahead for the time being. Well, look at the guys who have pitted. Relic on the medium tyres, just sort of pumping in the laps a bit further back. Maybe trying a bit of an ultimate undercut here on some of the guys in front. Then we got Brandon and Enz, unfortunately not going too well for the Alpha Tauri drivers. Brandon maybe going a little bit long now after some early misfortune, and Jens Hoffer's found a way past Donkey down into the braking zone, and Chalkers still dueling away with Infamous. Fantastic to see this battle between Haas and Mercedes. And Chalkers just keeping ahead now. Can he find a move into turn 15? We haven't seen any sort of late dives. I was almost half expecting to flip back and see a late dive then into that corner, because it is possible. You know, people can take sort of a very tight line and sort of send one up the inside, but do compromise himself on the run out of the corner. So far, it's all very close as things stand. Infamous around the final corner. DRS train starting to form a little bit. You just feel sorry for the person at the front of it, which is currently Jens Hoffer, doing everything he can to defend and almost can't break free. You know, where he is currently sat. Look at that little train behind him, and it's through no fault of his own. It's just the DRS is very powerful. People run, people relatively run. I can't English here. The downforce people run here is quite, is relatively high. Most circuits, I think, some of the TT times use 11.11 or something like that. So when DRS becomes more powerful, the higher levels of downforce you run, of course, you just remove that much drag. There we go. I got it out in the end. But is he going to be a sitting duck come the end of the straight? He's built quite a bit of a gap to Donkey down over the last lap, the half lap we've had. Into the braking zone, he's not going to be close enough. Who is close enough? It's Infamous, and Chalkers still going at it. The Mercedes goes down the inside. Who's going to... Oh, it's very tight on the exit. They're wheel to wheel. This is a fantastic battle between the pair of them. The Mercedes is going to try and hang this one round the outside. Of course, that will give him the inside for the next corner. Chalkers, though, swings around the outside, gets a better exit. Who's getting involved? It's Tiku. Will it be, unfortunately, a double position loss here for Infamous? He was going for the position, and instead, unfortunately for him, he lost it, and Chalkers now finds himself in an Alfa Romeo sandwich. Start of lap 7. Could we see a swap between the two Alpines here? 10K holds position on this occasion. Currently battling for 3rd and 4th in this race. Somehow we've got all 20 drivers and Tiku, and Chalkers going for it. Tiku, I think, getting ahead there. Tiku has got ahead there of the Haas. Chalkers may come back at him though. Not on this occasion. Got a gap up at the front. Foxblue, well, just running his own race. The two Alpines sort of currently sat ahead of sort of the chase group, if you like. I'm going to try and use cycling terms, even though I don't know cycling. Has entered the fast lap of the race on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. Sort of got the front two. Got the chase pack of Fox Blue all the way down to Wesley, and you've got sort of the peloton. Which Genthofer is just doing his best to break, and there's the move from 10K down the inside. On Fox Blue, move himself up in a P3, and you wouldn't have guessed it. Who's battling it out? It's Infamous and Chalkers once again. Down the inside this time goes the Hash Driver. Going to try and force his rival out wide, but Infamous is having absolutely none of it. He takes the inside line for the next one, but he's still there. Chalkers still dueling away. And between Haas and Mercedes, this is fantastic. We'll never see this in real life, but it's absolutely brilliant to see on circuit. And Chalkers gets the ovals out, and he finds his way through. Fantastic stuff there from them, and I'm looking forward to this battle throughout the race. They're on the same strategy as well. And there's his teammate, Chalkers' teammate Shabby, just a little bit behind. Looking to maybe get involved in the battle as well. Moves up the order because Genthofer is coming to pit lane. He maybe pulls the trigger on pit lane strategy. The two Alfa Romeos swapping position. And Tigger now takes the lead of the effective peloton, as I described it a little bit earlier on. The peloton was led by Tigger on the soft tyres. He started the race in plum last because of getting knocked out in Q1. But he's found his way up into 7th, and that's probably the good call to start on the soft common tyres. You know, he wanted to, I'd imagine he wanted to use them to try and sort of attack the field, and maybe felt he was quite a bit out of position, and well, he's done exactly that. Up in a P7, now needs to put the hammer down. It's hammer time from the Alfa Romeo driver as he will push on this lap. Accelerating away, almost a second. His teammate will have DRS. And Infamous, oh, you wouldn't have guessed it. It's Infamous and Chalkers back at it again. I think, unfortunately for Chalkers, he's stunted a little bit with straight line speed. Almost can't attack the Mercedes something like he would want to. And even when they're in the DRS train, in the slipstream train, Chalkers just can't fight as he would want to. Both of them doing a fantastic job of dueling here, especially in the slipstream train. But Jarry pulls the trigger out front. Jarry reacting maybe to Genthofer. We'll see how this one plays out. Maybe committing to a 2-stop, but I feel like it's quite early. The mediums probably can do 19 laps as DMYX comes into the pit lane as well. Bit of support as well in the comments, it seems. Again, I want to say one of my so far drivers of the evening. Very good performances in qualifying, must be said. Where is Jarry going to slot out? He's going to come out right into the peloton. As he's just got ahead of Chalkers. D1 rivals face to face. I'll be interested to see how Jarry negotiates. If I'm Jordan, and if I've got, if I can see where he's slotted out, I'm staying out. Jarry these are not easy people to overtake. We've seen this throughout. No one is an easy overtake. Here this evening, it's been fantastic racing up and down the field. All 20 drivers still going hammer and tong. We are going to change, instead of interval, we're going to change the leader. So the gap between Jordan and Jarry currently 13 seconds. But if I'm Jordan, I extend it as long as I can. Maybe think about one stop. Here goes Infamous for the move on Donkey Dan, and that Mercedes really just kicking into gear. And who's this to move? Down the inside, he's looked for the double move here. Jarry wants 2 positions in one, but he's not going to get it. He just has to stay behind Infamous a little bit longer. We'll keep an eye on that gap, 13.2 seconds. Of course, Jordan not benefiting from a slipstream or a tow down some of the straights. Oh, and I thought that was a bit of a punt. But we'll ignore it for the time being in the spirit of Race of Champions. Has Jarry got wing damage from that, though? That's something we might have to bear in mind. But Jordan and 10K reacting on the following lap. Fox will be forced to stay out an extra lap. Of course, his teammate into the pit lane. He inherits the race lead. That's definitely an unsafe release for so many reasons. Of course, that's not a thing in the game, so we'll have to worry about that. Chalkers staring at the back of that Mercedes. Probably something he'll be glad to see the end of. Come the end of this race, I'm sure they will be very closely matched all the way through. Wesley coming out of the pit lane as well in P12. And so, yeah, Jarry a little bit further up the road from Jordan. Would help. He would have closed in a little bit, I would imagine. But the problem is, I think now for Jordan, I would have wanted to extend was just all these guys on that alternate strategy in between himself and his race rival. But Donkey Dam and Infamous, that seemed a bit of a dive, potentially. pushing his rival a little bit off the track. Let's check the front wing of that Mercedes. It looks okay. Speaking of the Williams, he's going ahead of Tiku. Fresh mediums versus old softs. I think there's only really going to be one winner. That front wing looks okay to me, in my opinion. Jordan as well, making up the position, goes around the outside of Guna and moves himself up into P9. Tiku, can he get DRS in the next straight? The answer to that question is maybe. It was very, very close. We'll have to see in a moment's time. Foxborough dives into the pit lane, getting rid of those soft compound tyres. The Haas drivers praying, I think, for a bit of a safety car to mix things up, to throw themselves up near the front. And Chalkers has a massive moment. That's going to allow Shabby the incentive and the opportunity to get past. They're going to be wheel to wheel. That's a rubbish camera angle. That's a much better one. Chalkers on the left, right, Shabby on the inside, and he's kept it round the outside. And the Aston Martin of Shabby's got the best seat in the house to watch this one. Chalkers just about keeps ahead. He's got the nose in front, but Shabby has the inside for the first part. Chalkers has the in for the second part. Then it switched back to Shabby. They're still duelling it wheel to wheel. This is fantastic between the two D1 title protagonists. Shabby then has the inside, but of course then Chalkers has the inside for the next one. I think Chalkers may just have the upper hand now, and he does slot ahead. Fantastic, but he has a moment, and Shabby now gets back ahead. This is brilliant. Shabby's going to get involved. Fantastic duel. The guys on the medium runners. Shabby somehow got ahead, looking for the real inside line. There's no Chalkers. I think that may have been a corner car, but nevertheless. And now look who's getting involved. It's Jordan. Jordan wants to be ahead of these guys, and he's going to get held up a little bit. The two Red Bulls of Jens Hoffer and DTR swapping positions as well. The Haas drivers really do lack straight line speed, unfortunately for them. And the McLaren could be making one move, or maybe two. I think he's just made the one, and he does move into P6 ahead of Shabby. That was fantastic racing between the two Haas guys. The two D1 title fighters dueling it out. Fantastic to see. Tiku has made up a position. Made up two positions now. And D1X and DV Baldy. It looks like it is just an almighty duel rather than anything you wouldn't want to see. And the Aston Martin of Stravulis looking to find a way past Baldy as well. Takes a wide line, maybe trying a switch back. Couldn't find it though. And what's happened up the road? It's simple. Shabby getting rid of these medium tyres. What's he trying? I feel like that would be a little bit early to go to soft, but you never know. With Shabby, maybe just trying an undercut on sort of the people around him. We'll see what tyres he goes to as Jordan finds a way past. Chalkers up in the turn one, but Chalkers not giving up easily. Shabby goes onto the hard compound of tyres. Jordan ahead now into P5. Chalkers have to follow. He might be wanting to get DRS to help pull himself along. His teammate, of course, in the pit lane probably won't have DRS. Race out in a bit no man's land, and actually under attack from the charging ends of soft tyres. Reliot has been overtaken by Tiku, and DMYX is wanting to get involved as well. As they run now down towards the swing onto the back straight. And Xavi, look at Jordan, he's really found his way through these guys on the old medium tyres. I didn't think he'd do it this well, to be perfectly honest to him. I was almost worried for him that the two Alpines could come back in a little bit, but great racing from Jordan. Well, we saw in qualifying why he put it on pole. And he's showing the pace in the race as well. Enns and Shabby dueling it out down the other end of the field. Yellow flags are out because I think we have a spinner, and I think it is Wesley. That's an interesting place to be. Unfortunately for him, losing a lot of positions just coming out the pit lane. Shabby and Enns not too far behind the battle we were just watching. Shabby unfortunately losing the vision there to Enns, but I think, well, straight out the pit lane on hard tyres, it was going to be difficult as BB Baldy dives into the pit lane. Wesley now could be under attack from Enns. Enns DRS, Wesley no DRS, Enns goes to the inside as they climb up towards turn number 1. Enns a little bit later on the brakes. Enns move themselves up into P15 and he can continue that charge on the soft compound tyres, maybe hoping for a bit of a safety car. We'll have to see what happens. Unfortunately, we hope there are no safety cars because we don't want anyone to retire. I'd almost like to manually insert one just to spice up the race, bring the alternate strategy guys back into play, and it's the Mercedes and the Ferrari dueling it out, and the Ferrari's got a much better exit. I think Rennett's had a bit of a mistake and he's missing a lot of front wing. Yeah, it's a great camera. I'm going to show what I wanted to see, but yeah, the Mercedes seems to be missing a lot of its front wing. Yeah, lacking a lot of it. We're not sure what happened or why that's happened, but he will be into the pit lane at the end of this lap. I can assure you of that straight away. Further up the field, the two Alpines still going very nicely. Tankate put a bit of a gap to his teammate as Stravulis, it ends. Swapping places, ends, gets ahead of the Aston Martin, and now he's under threat from Wesley and Shabby just behind. Further up the field, there's still a good battle going on between a lot of the guys on the medium tyres, and that's Reliant running wide because he hasn't got a front wing. And now Stravulis keeps ahead for the time being. We'll see what happened with that Mercedes versus Mercedes in this 14-15 battle. Stravulis. Oh, Wesley got a snap as he deployed overtake. Has that given Shabby the incentive just behind them? I don't think he's going to get too close. Wesley looking for maybe a big switch back here, or just clean around the outside. That's a fantastic move from Wesley. Stravulis gives them the position. I think after that, but Wesley made the move stick, clean around the outside. That was a brilliant move from the D1 driver. Laid on the brakes, had the confidence, had the grip on the newer medium tyres. Just simply made it stick. Fantastic stuff. Infamous Donkey Dan still going out in front, but Jordan not far behind the latter. And we're at the halfway point now in this Grand Prix. 10k ahead of Guna. That looked like an easy move with the tyre delta down into turn 12 later on the brakes. A bit of DRS and a bit of overtake, I imagine, helped him on his way. Jordan actually further back down the field. We've got Wesley and Shabby battling it out. Wesley round the outside again. He's going to try and hold the position. Of course, Shabby the one attacking as we go now into the next part of the lap. I'm sure they'll be communicating the parties. I imagine this will be great fun kicking off between the two D1 drivers. They race each other for a long time. Wesley again trying to go around the outside, but just the car simply understeers wide. There's no way for him to hang that one out around the outside there and up at the front. Jordan close to a move. Not quite. On this occasion, further back, 10k looking at the back of Chalkers. Still making those medias work. A few guys have are yet to pit in this race. As Wesley picks up a 3-second time penalty. As he's going to come back at Shabby. Dive down the inside from Wesley. He's gone from the outside to the inside. Parks it on the apex. There's nothing Shabby can do about that. And tried to switch back, but Wesley saw that one coming from a mile off and keeps the position. He's up in a P14. Great driving from the Williams, keeping him ahead of the Haas. And Stravulis again, I mean, he's probably just enjoying watching the battle from behind, and Jordan has found a way past. Bit of DRS dosage down towards turn number 12. And McLaren moves himself up, and Chalkers going down the inside of Xavi. He's made that one stick just about, and 10K's followed him through. Xavi maybe starting to struggle on these old tyres. A few guys could be struggling. What's happened to Jens Hoffer? Losing, I think, 2 positions there to I think Tiku and DYMX. He definitely lost at least 1. So not a good couple of moments there for him, unfortunately. We get over the halfway point in this race now. Still, strategies are unfolding. Medium tyres seem to be like the ones to be on at the moment. And is anyone to come back at Chalkers? It could be 10k, DRS dosage. Bit of overtake down the inside. Nothing Chalkers can do, but he's going to try a switch. But again, with the switch I've just blocked off for the driver being overtaken. DYMX could be looking for a move on Tiku. He's trying to go around the outside. Maybe a switchback. Tiku keeps the position because there's a big snap of exit oversteer there for DYMX, and he has to hold in P11 for the time being. Both of these guys have made their pit stop as Chalkers picks up 3 seconds. We'll have a time penalty to be added to the end of the race. A little bit further down the field, Alexander Stravulis dueling away. Just lost that bit of time there to the Aston Martin that he had. Nevertheless, we push on. And yeah, fortunate for him there. Xavi's still leading the way, and almost making a move on Infamous is Jordan. And I expect to see the guys, Guna and Xavi, down the inside. Goes Guna, can Xavi find the one back on the exit? I don't think he can. Have to hold back for the time being. And Tiku dueling away once again. Better exit for the Ferrari. He's going to stick the nose in. He is. They're going to go wheel to wheel through this section. Infamous and Jordan have swapped positions out in front. Looks like a mistake maybe for the Mercedes, just by how much the Delta's already gone up. Unfortunately, we missed that big snap there from the Ferrari, and he's not going to be close enough. We're not going to see a Hamilton Verstappen, but Tiku was sliding through 16, 17 and 18 with Infamous. After that overtake into pit lane, and Chalkers is following suit. As we head now onto the main straight, will the Ferrari come back at the Alfa Romeo? Have a look at the guys in the pit lane in a moment's time. Round the outside is the plan. And UMX, can he hold it? We could see a we almost saw a Wesley S move there, but it was a good exit on the inside. The Alfa Romeo, but the Ferrari's not giving this one up easily. He's used a bit of overtake. Is he ahead? We can't see the Alfa Romeo. Oh, there's contact between the pair of them. Having to take avoiding action is Tiku. He's going to hold on to the position, but there was a bit of contact there, so that one would maybe go down to the stewards with this race of champions. So I would imagine we're not going to see the stewards later on this evening, but we never know, we might do. You never want to see anything decided in the stewards room. Chalkers come back out onto the circuit on his fresh softs, just a bit ahead of his teammate. And the three D1 guys joining out. Fox Blue ahead. Fox will make a double move. He's gone for the double move. He makes the double move stick. Fantastic move from Fox Blue down the inside of Xavi and Guna. Both of them yet to make their first pit stops in the race. So they're having a little puzzle about between themselves. Guna and Xavi, they are sort of fighting for position between themselves. It's been a good race between the pair. The two Alpines always seem to be one ahead of the other. Donkey Dan makes his first pit stop of the race, and Guna follows suit. Yeah, to watch pit stop, we can go into the soft tyres. I would imagine the Alfa Romeo boys making things nice and easy for him, and the fans above in the posh seats seem to be happy with that one. Good rotation actually. It's just makes good rotation out of turn one there, and did reel himself back into Tiku, keeping that battle between them well and truly alive. Of course, still contact between them in the first section, as neither of them wanted to yield on that occasion. Bit of a snap there from Tiku, but held the car absolutely spot on. And now this will be interesting. Brand new softs for Infamous, for Donkey Dan, for Chalkers, for Guna, for Stravulis. It's their turn to attack. They've been under threat from people on new mediums, and it's their turn to have a go. I'd imagine Infamous is too far back from the Red Bull, but still, we could see a move maybe on this occasion from somebody. Chalkers desperately trying to get close. He's using every bit of overtake. He's got 2%. I can see on his dash he sends one down the inside. They're wheel to wheel. And Donkey Dan just holds on to the position after that little exchange. Jens Hoffer been overtaken by Infamous. I missed that one, unfortunately. But Chalkers still trying to find a way past Donkey Dan. No way through on this occasion. And Guna right behind Shabby. As we head now through 16, 17, 18, the hard tyres just can't live with the demand. As Stravulis finds a way past iiBbEeNnii down in P18. Infamous sets the fast lap of the race, and that just tells you the shift, if you like, in pace and who's at the advantage, and that's how easy the move was. Fresher tyres, maybe a bit of a better power unit, and unfortunately Shabby dropping down to P14, hoping for a safety car to try and get himself back in the hunt. But fair play to everybody, all 20 drivers still running. We've had some hard racing, but overall very, very fair, I must say. Can we get the last lap times up? No. Position changes. Let's have a look at that. Big winners, Xavi and Tiku, 10 and 14. They're the ones that will be celebrating definitely at the end of this evening. But it's Donkey Dan going down the inside of Gentoffer. Bit of a lock-up for somebody there. Unfortunately, Gentoffer dropping down the field a little bit here. Unfortunately for him. Less than 10 laps to go in this one. DMX and Tiku swapping places. Can Tiku hold this one round the outside? He's going to give it a go. Can he get the exit he wants to? Really jamming on the power. And that is a fantastic defence from Tiku. DMX though won't give up. He's trying to go around the outside. It's 19 versus 71. And DMX gets the inside line. Can we see a switchback move here from the Alfa Romeo? Oh, another big snap from the Alfa. And who's getting involved? It's the brand new softs of Infamous. Just behind them. He'll be wanting to try and get through, try and push on a little bit. Can he catch the likes of Xavi? Can he catch the likes of Fox Blue? There's only one way to find out. There's another fast lap of the race, 36.1 for him. I wouldn't expect to dive into turn one. Plays it safe. He knows the driver's in front of battling Wesley into the pit lane. Using his two stoppers. Gunas has the fastest lap of the race. And Guna now next person to have a go at Gentoffer. Can he get himself within DRS range when they get to the next straight into the pit lane? As well is Alexander in P17 in that McLaren. Now Infamous a little bit closer to Tiku. We've seen how powerful that Mercedes can be today. They've both got DRS, they've both got a slipstream. Who can get the better of the exit? Alfa Romeo scraping on the floor so early along the straight. Overtake enabled. He's not got a lot of energy to play with. But it looks like this could be one of the more simple moves potentially of the evening. The Mercedes go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is not going to give this one up though, by any stretch of the imagination. But the Mercedes just keeps ahead. He may have shut the door a little bit firmly. And Jarry's into the pit lane. Jarry committing to the two-stop. Of course, Jordan did pit a lap later. Maybe that's what we're seeing out here. Guy's going for the two-stop. He will feed out. I mean, I'd almost... It looks like Jarry's going to feed out. Potentially just into P3. He's just slotted ahead of Fox Blue. But the gap's 5.5 seconds between himself and Jordan. I'd like to think, you know, it's Jarry, it's fresh softs. I feel like he would catch Jordan anyway, but as Jordan tries something different, just in case, you never know what can happen. DOX and Infamous going at it. It's Mercedes versus Ferrari. Mercedes just gets ahead. I don't like the fresh softs were maybe the deciding factor in that battle. Just allowed the Mercedes to sort of put up a bit more of a fight, if you like, into that first sector. And further back, the penalty is good to decide things. Real good battle going on up at turn one. The Red Bull can't quite keep ahead of the McLaren. He's going to have a look. There's no way through on that occasion. And Reliot getting involved as well in his Mercedes. I mean, Jarry is just taking time simply out of 10k in front of him. Soft being a big help in that. Donkey Dan gets ahead of Chalkers. Another good battle going on. I mean, if they join the DYMX Tiku battle, this could be an almighty fight. Both Alfa Romeos, a Haas and a Ferrari, basically all the Ferrari-powered cars, dueling it out. I'm looking forward to that one unfold in a few laps' time. I mean, it almost is all the Ferrari-powered cars. I think they're all line astern. Gentoffer, the only one in the way. We've got Shabby, also Chalkers, Donkey Dan, Tiku, and DMX, all the Ferrari power cars, and DMX into the pit lane. It seems the two-stop strategy seems to be the preferred one. The pit lane loss here is not huge, but with 7 laps to go, is that the right call? I'm not sure. I mean, Jarry's, you know, finding a lot of time. It's fair to, you know, it is fair to say, but he was leading the race. He did have a bit of an advantage, and to help him out. I'm not sure about this one. There's yellow flags, and that seems to be BB Body facing the wrong way. Unfortunately, but he gets going once again. Maybe using the rear on those tyres. McLaren of Alexander sets the new fast lap of the race to 35.540. At the moment, Jarry, though, moved himself up into P2. He can hunt down race leader Jordan. You can see now, without any Alpines in his way, And as we push on, we will see what unfolds, because the gaps up in the field are a little bit spread apart from this battle here, which I'm absolutely loving, as Chalkers has now got involved with. DMX, of course, at making that pit stop, he's got the work to do, and that's the thing for me. That's probably why I wouldn't pit. You know, you've almost done a bit of work to give yourself a bit of potential. There's a potential for him to come back at them. Hopefully they battle a bit, but you know, I can't see anything pitting, to be perfectly honest. Enns and Wesley dueling it out. Enns takes a real switchback line. Can he get a better exit than at the Williams? It doesn't look like it on this occasion. And Wesley getting ahead on his fresh softs. Alfa Romeo swapping places to go down the outside, down the inside. Donkey Town trying to hold it around the outside, back and switch to the inside. And they're going wheel to wheel. Donkey Town wants to be ahead. He's on the fresh softs. He's not going to give this one up, and he forcefully puts that Alfa Romeo fairly into P6. And he wants to use the next few corners to try and break away from any DRS threat. But who is under DRS threat is Jordan. I'm sure Jarry is going to flick to the inside. And this is going to be one of the more simpler moves. He slots ahead before the braking zone, and our former race leader becomes our current race leader. And the Williams driver is now into P1. DMX on Shabby. He's going to make that move nice and early. He will have DRS as well. He was behind. And Chalkers, Chalkers and Tiku fighting it out now. Looks like Chalkers has got the inside line. He's just going to get the nose ahead. Will Tiku think about a dive? Plays it sensibly. On this occasion, DMX is ahead of Shabby. He's comfortably ahead of Shabby. By the time he gets the brakes, and he did DRS because he was behind at the detection point in their little battle. I'm impressed about the field spread as well, to be fair. 20 drivers, everybody's still going. You know, of course, unfortunately, there was Wally with his spin, but we're separated, let's be honest, by 1.5 seconds here, half a lap. I think that's pretty impressive with 20 drivers. Running realistic cars, everyone putting up a solid fight today. And even if it's not going your way, everyone's giving up. I'm glad we've not seen any retirements in the pit lane. I absolutely hate it when that happens, and everybody wanting to show off what they can do. And Javi down the inside for the final points, paying position. Gentoffer going long, and actually speaking of the person going long, Brandon is into the pit lane, maybe looking to put on a set of softs, have a last gasp push right at the end of the Grand Prix. Looks like Jordan. This could be our top three. No penalties for the top three. Fair play to them as Wesley picks up 3 more seconds. Gaps, yeah, starting to spread out. But can Infamous make a charge? Can he get towards Fox Blue? We'll keep an eye on that delta. Currently 4.6 seconds. Guna getting ahead of Tiku. Tiku unfortunately starting to drop a little bit. But that's the tyre delta, unfortunately, unfolding. And the guys who start on the mediums, who are now on the softs, really, it's their race at the moment. They're the ones fighting for positions. They felt the pain for the midway part of the race, but come the last couple of laps, it has come back towards them. Diomedex may be regretting that pit stop. He was in the Tiku fight, wasn't he? He's about 10 seconds behind the Alfa Romeo and looking for a pass Gentoffer. He wants to try and get into the points. I would expect. Gentoffer, though, no penalties to his name as well. Just doing a very consistent job on those mediums. Got the oldest tyres on track, and I imagine with a helping hand of DRS, this could be a relatively simple move up the inside, and it is. As you climb up towards turn 1, the Ferrari is ahead of the Red Bull for P11. Wesley not too far behind Shabby, and this is about part 4 of Shabby versus Wesley. I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to follow the battle through the first sector. We'll see a difference between the softs and the hards. Shabby, the only driver on the hard compound tyres at the moment. He went medium hard as his strategy choice. Maybe regretting not going a little bit longer, and that's a very interesting line, Wesley, but I'm sure he won't mind at the moment. In the Battlefield 14, Shabby has a big snap, but gets away with it. And gets actually quite a good exit in his little Haas. That's a very, very late on the brakes from Wesley. Surprised he didn't get any wing damage from that one, but here we go. Chalker's further up the road. Can't quite find a way past Donkey Down on this occasion. Wesley ahead of Shabby with helping out DRS, and well ahead by the time they get to the braking zone. I'd imagine 4-lap softs versus 12-lap hards. He may just gallop away a little bit. Guna trying to find a way past Chalkers, who's running that car very, very low. Guna, we've seen him now pick up his third and final warning on this occasion. He finds himself picking up 3 more seconds come the end of the race. DRS will be activated, but the pair of them, is he close enough to make the move? I don't think he is. And as we slam on the brakes, they're in the order they started the straight on. So the battle's up and down the field. I've just noticed 10K starting to reel in Jordan. That gap is within a second. 2 guys without penalty, so this is a straight fight. I'd imagine unless anything untoward happens, this will be our top 3, but it just depends in what order. 10K was just within that second. The DRS flap will open now. We hear the little beep, and the wing opens. Wesley picks up a few more seconds to the end of his race time. As we head down towards turn number 12, gaps come down about 2/10. Pound, of course, quick on the straights. So it will be an interesting fight. With 2 laps to go when they cross the line. Jarry done everything right this evening, has absolutely maximised Matt Williams. We'll try and see a lap with him. We kind of ignored him throughout this race, unfortunately. Just up at the front, getting on with it, and well, head down. Just making the most out of this Williams. It's been fantastic to watch. Got qualifying spot on. And well, in the race has been pretty faultless, it must be said, despite the battle from Jordan, 10K and co. Guna, can he find a way past Chalkers? Chalkers no longer in DRS range of Donkey Down in front. So maybe a bit of a sitting duck. We'll have to wait and find out now as they run towards the top of the hill. The highest point on the circuit. He's looking to the inside is the Ferrari. Chalkers, though, late enough on the brakes. No lockups on this occasion, but he is a lot closer than when he started. 10K got that gap within 0.6 of a second now as they come out of middle sector. Wesley and Jans Hoffer switching places up into turn 1, and unfortunately that strategy just not working out for the Red Bull driver. Those mediums going off at a rapid rate, unfortunately for him, down in P13. 10K getting closer and closer and closer, but not close enough at the moment. As relates to the fastest lap of the race, 34.8, great time from him there. And Infamous, we talked about his charge earlier on. Guna past Chalkers, that was quite easy with DRS, and a bit of overtake, I imagine, as well. But we talked about Infamous's charge. Could he do it? He is there or thereabouts, isn't he? Come the final lap of the race, there's 3 battles, sorry, I really want to watch on this final lap. It's 10K versus Jordan. 2 more DRS zones to go for everybody now. Pretty much everybody. Jordan just seems to get the exit he would want, though, and that's the key thing. Chalkers can't quite keep with Guna. Infamous is within DRS range, and when that Mercedes gets going, it really does get going on the straights. This could be close. 1 Alpine on attack, 1 Alpine on defence. D1DX is also pressuring Xavi. That's for the final points paying position. A little bit further down the order. Well, P10, that's the last point. That's the last points paying position. But can he get a good exit? Jordan just seems to be really good on the exits. Yellow flags are waving somewhere. I'm not sure because no one stopped on track. Who knows? We'll keep going. Maybe a little bit further down the field. Wesley's got a 10-second time penalty. I'm not sure what's going on there. But this is the battle we want to be watching. Can Jordan hold on? The gap is 0.4 of a second. Infamous also pressuring his teammate, looking for a way past. Can he go down the inside? He holds on just at the moment. Someone's retired. That's a crash. We're going to keep going, though, because Infamous goes down the inside of Fox Blue. He moves himself up in a P4. Can 10K find a way past? Could we see our first send down the inside? He's going to think about it. He goes for the move. Jordan, though, reads him like a book. Oh, they come together. They come together on this final lap of the race. Somehow Jordan keeps ahead on this occasion. The other McLaren not faring as well in this final lap, and unfortunately for Jordan, 10K parks it on the apex there. I'm ready, but Jarry wins the Race of Champions. He is our champion of champions. Sorry for missing that, Jarry. But fantastic race from him. 10K will take P2, Jordan will take P3, and Infamous has overtaken Foxblow in the final phases. Has Foxblow run out of fuel? I think Foxblow has run out of fuel. Can he get to the line in P5? He just about can. Donkey9 takes P6. Guna is 7th. Chalkers will take 7th, actually. Great drive from him in the house. Tiku is 9th. Xavi is 10th. DMX crosses the line, maybe also running out of fuel. What is Wesley doing on the track limits front? I do not know. Shabby is P12. How many seconds of penalties has Wesley got? 42. I mean, that's a fair stint there. We kind of missed the last lap, unfortunately, for him. Stravulis and Brandon, I think another driver may be running out of fuel. No safety cars, of course, in this one. No VSCs, of course, in this one. And Brandon gets a little bit trigger happy. And the final corner. Relic will come around the final corner. It's Mercedes P17. Wesley P18. I think he might have run out of fuel as well. Hence the corner cutting, I feel. And then BB not too far behind. And that rounds out our Race of Champions. And it is Jarry. D1 P3 man takes the win in the Williams. A fantastic qualifying, a fantastic drive. But it's got to be said. There's great drives up and down the field. Tigger gets driver of the day. Great comeback from a far from ideal qualifying session, it must be said. Jarry takes to the top step of the podium. It's two Dutchies on the podium with the Scotsman of Jordan and McLaren, the Williams, and the Alpine. A very blue podium all round, it must be said. Flags, teams, and, well, background as well. But yeah, Jarry takes the win. He is our champion of champions in Season 2. And, well, Season 3 kicks off in a few weeks' time, so not much time to rest for anybody. But, well, you want to get straight back to it. Jarry takes the win from 10K. Jordan in third, round off a podium. Infamous' last lap move on Foxblue, we think, ran out of fuel. They are 4th and 5th. Donkey Dan in P6. It's that Ferrari-powered duel of Donkey Dan, Chalkers, Guna, Tiku are 6th down to 9th. Xavi takes the final points position, and P10, our D1 champion Xavi, is 11th. Great drive, to be fair, in the hat, it must be said. Gentolfer, making those mediums last, is P12. No penalties as well for a few of those guys, so great job from them, it must be said. Then you've got Ends 13th, DYMX in 14th, 15th is Stravulis, Relic 16th, Brandon 17th, Vivaldi 18th, Wesley 19th. Unfortunately, not finishing on the last lap is Alexander. What's Wesley doing with 42 seconds of penalties? I do not know, but thank you everybody for watching. It's been a fantastic race. Hope you've enjoyed the Champions Race of Champions for the Champion of Champions. And we'll see you all very, very soon for Season 3. It is all going to kick off. It's all going to be fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I've tried something a little bit different this evening. We had a few technical glitches here and there, but I mean, it's always fun with a few technical glitches. But yeah, I'm sure, new season updates will come up soon. We probably have the calendar released recently. The Esports League announced. It's all getting very exciting as we kick off Season 3 in F1 2021 and the new turn of the year. First round is Saudi Arabia, so get practicing. I'm sure the leagues will be announced in the coming weeks. And thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been fantastic. I hope everybody drove in it, had a good race. I hope I've not missed anything. But thank you for watching. Hopefully I can do a bit more commentary in the future. We'll see. We'll have to see with that one. I hope you enjoyed the commentary, and that's another thing as well. It seems to have a great audience this evening. And I've dragged this sort of goodbye and ending out very long, so I'll keep you for no longer this evening. I hope you've enjoyed this evening's racing, and we'll see you all at DTR very, very soon. With GT Sports 7 as well. Something to look forward to. The Monday League starting, I believe, next week. See everyone very soon. Thank you for watching.